Hi, Monique Casey here. Because it's Bill Let's Talk Day on January 31st, I thought I would talk to you about the four biggest worries when someone you love has been diagnosed with a mental illness. So, my background, in case you don't know, is as a crisis interventionist. I was a mental health counselor for quite some time. But also in my own personal life, I've had to deal with some diagnoses myself, which I still manage these conditions myself, and I have family members. But I was a caregiver for my mother that I buried in December who suffered from bipolar disorder. And so this topic is really near and dear to my heart, and it affects 1 in 5 people personally who suffer from a serious mental illness in their lifetime, and also their family. So there's no one virtually that's immune from having to deal with mental illness issues. So if what I share here triggers, kind of makes you think I need to talk to somebody about this, or there's some, things going on that I just can't do this on my own. And you're not someone that wants to go into like counseling per se, but you need some coaching, you need some brainstorming, some strategies. I am opening up my calendar, and you're free to grab one of those discovery calls to see if we're a fit, and we can talk about one of your situations and see if we can figure something out. So I'll post something later. So let's dig in. The first thing is, how long is it going to take for the meds to work or our lives to get back to normal? Now, every situation is different. And also how we react to medication, everybody is different. So if someone is given medication, they may have to adjust their medication several times. And it takes a long time to even see, well, is someone adapting to this medication? Do we need to change the medication? This can take quite a bit of time. So on average, what I've noticed is that when people have entered into a crisis with their mental health, it usually takes between 3 months to a year before we finally find that stable place where everything's back to normal and with the new normal, because sometimes it means that people are on medication for either a long time or even permanently, but they need to learn some new life skills along the way. So this can take a bit of time, so you do have to practice patience. So how long does it take? Depends on everybody, and we have to really have lots of conversations going for it to go as quickly as possible. Now, I do want to say one thing. What I have noticed, and this is a personal observation, it's not from statistics, but I have noticed that sometimes when it takes a longer time, what you end up getting is more, it just covers more of the problems. So be patient and look for a more complex solution, because you might find that you're going to get a better outcome. So the second one is, what if I'm telling them that they need to go see the doctor and they get angry at me? Well, unfortunately, that does happen, right? Nobody likes to be told that they're not doing well. We have to just really keep the lines of communication open, even if they are angry, because they're responding from a stress response, just as we're responding from a stress response. Emotionalities get involved, but it's really important that if they do get angry, that we turn around afterwards and say, okay, this is why I reacted the way I did. This is why I made you go to the doctor. If it was me, how would you respond if suddenly I was doing this? What would you think? What would you, and get them to see your position once things calm down, not while they're in crisis, because they won't understand it. And then have a conversation around, well, what do you think is okay in other people? Because they often, when people don't have a lot of self-awareness, they're not able to even see it when you point it out to them. So just help them see from the other perspective, and then start to dialogue about, what do you want me to do the next time? Because it may happen again. And ask for forgiveness. That's all you have to do. Now, the third one is, what if I'm wrong and the doctors and everybody says, no, this person's fine. Okay, listen, you apologize, right? You just say, this is what I was seeing. This is, and you have that same conversation you would have if they were angry. You would just say, well, what do you think is normal behavior? Like, this didn't feel normal to me. And what would you have preferred I did? And really, it's just about really deepening the relationship, because you don't want to break the trust bonds if the person does end up getting sick, because sometimes we do see something the doctors don't. And so we're being told everything's fine, and then 3 months later everybody's going, oh my God. And so sometimes we'll catch the early signs and people tell us we're overreacting. just apologize and just be ready to say, well, what do we do if it does happen or goes in that direction? So then you will be more credible, and because you don't want to break the bonds. And the fourth one is, what if you have a busybody relative who knows it all and just makes you feel like crap every time you talk to them? Okay, here's the deal. I had some of those in my family. And so the first thing, and really the only thing that you have to start with, is the relationship to the person who's ill. So you have a relationship, obviously, but you also have to identify how important the relationship is to your loved one. So if it's somebody that you know is like giving you grief, but they're not harming the person that you're trying to help or that you love, then you have to know that this person has a link with this person, and you need to let that happen naturally. You need to just support this person, but you don't need breaking that link will just cause more problems. But you do need to set boundaries with that third person, the one that's trying to tell you what to do, and just say, listen, I hear what you're saying. I see that you think I should be doing this and I should be doing that and I should be doing this. Can you come next week and do those things, because I don't have the time? When we start giving them an opportunity to do all the things they think you should be doing, they suddenly don't see the needs quite as much half the time. But you do need to say, no, I'm not going to be able to do that. Why don't you tell me who can, or what you can do? Unless you think that it's going to be very detrimental to the person that you're caring for, then you do let them get involved, because they'll tire out eventually and they'll realize. I mean, that's what happened in my life. There were people who seemed to think they knew much better. They didn't even live locally. And when they came, they saw, oh my God. So it's really about just giving them an opportunity to be involved, but give very, very distinct boundaries, and also let them know you're going to get upset if they go overboard. So I hope this was helpful. So those are, I'll just name those four again. How long does it take? And what if they get angry at me? And what if I'm just wrong about everything? And what if there was a busybody? Those were the four biggest worries when someone first gets a diagnosis. Those are the things that happen the most often. Now, do you have things that you go, wait a minute, I wish somebody had told me about that? I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to know what it was about that didn't work, and I'd be happy to answer that. So comment below or above or wherever that is on this particular system, and I'd be happy to have a conversation. And if you want to grab one of those discovery calls, I'm only got room for 5 people in my agenda, and I think one person's considering it. So I mean, so 5 enrollments goes quickly. So do grab one of those spots. And in the meantime, let's keep talking. Bye now.